In Palestine, the Israeli army continues to kill civilians. At least 220 people perished under the occupiers' bombardment in the last 24 hours. The National Institute of Migration of Honduras announced free flow of migrants following instructions given by President Xiomara Castro. And in Chad, the Supreme Court confirmed the results of the constitutional referendum for a new constitution in the country. Hello, welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos, and from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba, we begin with the news. The Zionist army, in the face of the failure of the offensive against Hamas, continues to kill Palestinian civilians. At least 220 people perished under the occupiers' bombardment in the last 24 hours. On the 84th day of the war, bombs ravaged the entire strip. According to the Red Crescent, only in the vicinity of the Al-Amal hospital south of Gaza, 41 people have been killed, almost all of them women and children. In the West Bank, the occupiers' troops killed 4 young people and wounded and detained an undetermined number of people. Khan Yunis is currently one of the most besieged areas in the Gaza Strip. About 90 fatalities have been counted in the last 24 hours. The coordinator of the UN Office for Palestine, Thomas White, also confirmed that Israel attacked one of his humanitarian convoys. In Lebanon, the Hezbollah resistance group warned that it is ready to respond militarily to any aggression by the occupying army. The border area between southern Lebanon and Israel has intensified tensions in recent days as the parties exchange fire with losses on both sides. In this sense, the leader of the military group, Naim Qassem, pointed out that they are ready to take any necessary action in the face of the genocide triggered in the Gaza Strip. He added that they have been part of the battle since the beginning of the intensification of the Israeli siege.
If Israel goes too far, we will retaliate twice. We will not be afraid of any Israeli or US threats or intimidation, because the future of the region now depends on this hope and this sacrifice.
In Russia this Friday, the Defense Ministry reported that it is making massive attacks with high-precision weapons and drones against the Ukrainian territory. According to a defense statement, in the period from December 23rd to December 29th, attacks were carried out against facilities of the military-industrial complex, airfield infrastructure, and military arsenals, as well as artillery ammunition storage sites, autonomous ships, weapons and fuel for military equipment. On Friday morning, a massive attack was carried out against the territory of Ukraine. Explosions were recorded in Kiev and several other regions. According to the authorities, at least one polygon, several warehouses, and critical infrastructure facility and a military plant were hit.
In the period from 23 to December 29, the armed forces of the Russian Federation carried out 50 group strikes and one massive strike using high-precision weapons and drones, targeting the military-industrial complex, air force infrastructure, arsenals and storage sites for artillery ammunition, naval surface drones, weapons and fuel for military equipment. In addition, places where Ukrainian army units were stationed were hit, as well as the nationalist grouping and foreign mercenaries. All the intended targets were hit.
And now let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In Honduras, the National Institute of Migration announced free flow of migrants. The measure responds to instructions given by President Xiomara Castro. The opposition groups in the parliament prevented the approval of the extension of the migratory amnesty that expires this December 31st. For this reason, the head of state ordered the application of a humanitarian policy based on the fact that her government recognizes migration as a human right. There will be no administrative sanctions. They will be granted a special permit for 10 days, and 4 interior controls offices will be set up for their attention. In this way, the Honduran Institute of Migration called on the legislature to prioritize a legal framework that protects asylum seekers. The General Coordinator of Haitian Police Union, Lionel Lazare, assured that 2023 has been a deadly year for the National Police. The data presented by Lazare shows that at least 37 officers have been killed, most of them by criminal gangs in the metropolitan area of Port-au-Prince, the country's capital. In January alone, 10 officers were ambushed and killed by heavily armed individuals in Metivier, a commune in Pétionville, where there are heavy clashes with gangs attempting to invade police headquarters. The union leader also gave an account of the almost 5 police stations that were attacked by the violent gangs that control more than 80% of the metropolitan territory. In Venezuela, diplomat Alex Saab denounced the torture and cruel treatment received during his kidnapping in Cape Verde and illegal incarceration in the United States. In an exclusive interview given in the 3rd edition of Maduro's podcast, the diplomat said that during his kidnapping, the U.S. government imposed unilateral coercive measures against Venezuela and blocked its economy in order to get the nation's collapse. Saab also reported that during his abduction, he had to drink water in the same container that he was meant to perform his physiological needs. And during his interview, the Venezuelan diplomat referred to the sanctions he and his family have been subjected to by the U.S. government and how he was tortured for 2 hours for refusing to sign a voluntary extradition from Cape Verde to the United States.
In July 2019, I was sanctioned. My sons, my brothers also were sanctioned, who didn't even have any link to the government of Venezuela. The sanctions, they were sanctions because they were relatives of mine. Since 2019, I was sanctioned for working in the system of food, the food system of Venezuela. That first night, I was put in jail. No one spoke to me. The next day and night, I had no food, no water. At midnight, they start to talk to me, and they urged me to sign my voluntarily extradition to the United States. I refused. Then the control is they handcuffed me and seat me in a chair. They put out a towel. They put a towel on my face and start filling my face with water. So I had the sensation of drowning. They tortured me for over 2 hours.
In this way, Alex Saab shared his experiences in prison and admitted that he gets emotional when he remembers some of these moments.
On November 16th, a guard came to me and said, "Alex, there are a group of people from human rights are going to come here with the director of the prison jail. You need to yell that you are being subjected to torture." So when I heard that they were coming up, I started to yell. Well, they kept walking. They didn't listen to me. I still get very emotional when speaking about this. 10 minutes later, they came back. They opened the door and say, Alex, we are here for you. They verified that I was tortured. They say, this is not going to happen again. They fired the director Correa from the prison.
For her part, Camila Fabri, wife of the diplomat Alex Saab, recounted how the Venezuelan people were a great support for her in the midst of this nightmare the Saab Fabri family was living.
This has been the victory of the diplomacy of peace. This has been a historical victory, and they are in pain because they spent millions of dollars in this media war and this demonization of Alex and Venezuela. We are more than decided to defend the truth of Venezuela, because there are a lot of lies to justify policies against Venezuela. We need to fight because these people deserves to be respected and deserves to be defended. This is a loving people that me personally they have given me a lot.
Now we move on to other topics. 7 people have died and 1 is still missing as a result of the floods that have affected several provinces in southern Thailand. The authorities informed on Friday that the most affected region is the province of Narathiwat, where all the fatalities were registered and the missing person is still being sought. According to data from the Provincial Department of the Office for Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, more than 260,000 people have been affected by the floods. So far, the rising waters have affected 13 districts in the province, including Yala and Patani. The water level reached more than 2 meters in some villages in Narathiwat, where residents had to take shelter on rooftops or upper floors of their houses while waiting for help from emergency services. And in China, President Xi Jinping reviewed the historic achievements of the country's diplomatic management during the Central Conference of Foreign Affairs work. At the 2-day event held in Beijing, the head of state noted that new horizons have been opened and an image of self-reliance and self-determination, openness and inclusiveness has been established. President Xi expressed that in the 10 years of the new era, they have experienced many storms that have enabled them to accumulate valuable experiences. He particularly emphasized the need to continue to adhere to principles and join hands with most countries in the world by occupying very firm moral heights. And we have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and also share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. Final short break, don't go away. In Chad, the Supreme Court confirms the results of the constitutional referendum as announced by the President of Supreme Court, Samir Adam Anur. Chad's Supreme Court definitely validated the results of the referendum for a new constitution organized by the military junta that has been in power for the past 2.5 years, a key step intended to pave the way for elections in the country at the end of 2024. For some members of the opposition and civil society, the result of this ballot resembles a plebiscite designed to pave the way for the election of a transitional president, General Mahamat Idris Deby Itno. The Supreme Court rejected an appeal by the federal bloc, an opposition coalition which had called for the results to be annulled on the grounds of several irregularities in the voting process.
Taux de participation.
Turnout 62.86%. The yes side received 4,220,365 votes, or 85.90%. The no side received 692,804 votes, or 14.10%. Declares that the draft constitution enshrining the unitary form of the state has been adopted by the people of Chad. Declares that the present judgment shall be notified to the transitional president, president of the republic, head of the state, to the president of the National Transitional Council, to the president of CONOREC, to the petitioners, and published in the official gazette of the republic.
The Burkina Faso army claimed on Thursday to have destroyed an alleged terrorist base in the town of Tia, department of Sigle, in the central west region of the country. The military discovered a terrorist base in the Tia forest. There they launched airstrikes and killed a significant number of insurgents, as they said, at the site. The military report indicated that the base and all logistics were destroyed at the time of the attack. They also confirmed in the same operation the intervention of another terrorist focus in the east of the country near the town of Sakoani. More than 250 babies and children have been evacuated in the recent days from the Sudanese city of Wad Madani, southeast of the capital, Khartoum. The United Nations Children's Fund reported that heavy fighting between the National Army and the Rapid Support Forces forced the emergency evacuation. According to the agency, this is yet another relocation for many of the 253 minors in recent months, as some have come from abandoned orphanages in the capital. In the United States, space exploration company SpaceX successfully launched a secret U.S. space plane into orbit on Thursday from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. As on previous missions, there's no one on board in the reusable plane, which resembles a mini space shuttle and carries classified experiments. The Pentagon has disclosed few details about its mission, which is conducted by U.S. Space Force under the military's National Security Space Launch Program. In a statement last month, the Air Force Rapid Capabilities Office said that mission number 7 would involve tests of new orbital regimes, experimenting with future space domain awareness and technologies. And Syrians have decided to end the current 2023 year with the launching of a large reforestation day that covers all the areas affected by the fires that occurred throughout this year that is about to end. This is a beautiful way to dismiss one year and welcome a new one in a clear demonstration of their faith that the future will be better. Let's see.
The Reforestation Day was part of the central celebration of the 72nd anniversary of National Tree Day, held in the city of Cardaja in the coastal province of Latakia, under the title, We Protect Our Forests. Volunteers, representatives of civil, popular, and youth organizations, trade union members, and employees of government institutions planted about 10,000 forest trees over an area of 15,000 acres, a part of the 5 national reforestation campaigns that began on September 1st, 2023, and are scheduled to end on March 31st, 2024.
We plan to plant more than 4 million forest trees that we plan to plant in all the areas affected by the fires through 5 national reforestation campaigns that we develop in cooperation with all the organizations and social entities, and we do it within the framework of the new Forestry Law number 39 decree on December 25th of this year in order to protect the forest lands and regulate the way to exploit them in order to recover the green land of the country. On the occasion of the National Tree Day, we are participating in this Reforestation Day, and this is our first experience, as we have already participated in 2 tree replanting campaigns in several areas of the coastal province of Latakia. We want to continue with this voluntary contribution to recover the beautiful green layer of our country.
During 2023, high temperatures and drought, coupled with acts of terrorist sabotage, caused nearly 1,500 fires that devoured Syrian sources and livelihood in tens of thousands of acres of forested areas and farmland, planted mainly with apples, olives, and citrus trees. This is damage that the government and citizens of the country are sparing no effort to repair, determined that 2024 will be the year of cultivating life instead of death, peace instead of war, and prosperity and development instead of destruction.
The areas that were devastated by the fires are today witnessing a great joint governmental and civil society effort aimed to replanting and reforestation, following the instructions of the President of the Republic, who, together with the Syrian First Lady, visited all the areas and ordered them to reforest it.
In the margin of the celebration of this new anniversary of the National Day of the Tree, an exhibition of homemade products of the farmer woman, made from natural components of the country's agricultural crops, was held. These exhibitions, together with the national reforestation campaigns, reflect the harmony of Syrians with Mother Earth and their firm attachment to the international environmental protection agreements for the benefit of all mankind.
And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.